Hey guys! Well, we're into week 2 of the Doctrine and Covenants, and as you can see this week I'm not outside either. And I've decided that I will do them inside, and I'll probably all do them from here unless I'm travelling because you've got to look after your health sometimes, and dragging you out to all the gardens while it was pretty for last year. Just this year, I thought no, I've got to look after me a bit more, and by doing that means staying here. So you'll get my newly set up little office space. I will put the thought that I'm saying on the screen. This one's particularly not that big, but we can try. Some of them might be better than others. But this is probably where you'll see me for this year. Don't really feel like doing field trips. Sometimes you'll hear the neighbours in the background, just like you heard any other peripheral noise from anywhere else I was. Yeah, that's about that one. Okay, so week two of the Doctrine and Covenants, and we're actually in Joseph Smith history. Now, for those of you who are sort of new to the Doctrine and Covenants, I did point this out last week. So this Doctrine and Covenants was my journal edition, and you got Doctrine and Covenants right over here. Now, right at the back is Joseph Smith Matthew. You get Pearly Right Price. There's Moses, Abraham, and then right at the back is Joseph Smith history. There is only one book, and the verses are quite long. More like because it was written in a story. We'll get to that actually, and it's sort of broken up into different parts and goes for a bit. And then the articles of faith are after that. So our reading from this week is verses 1 through 26. So really not that long, but there's so much in here that you can pull out and learn from. So I've pulled things that I hope will be helpful to you. Not all of them will be the same that your Sunday school teachers will pull out or that you might have noticed. But these are the ones that sort of stood out to me that are maybe supposed to help somebody out there. So first off, we're going to go to verse 8. Now this is written, Joseph Smith wrote this down because there were several accounts, like, you know how you talk about what happened to you, and people have written it down because it was super cool. And then there was some conflicting in there because, sometimes you leave, like, you tell a person one part of it and then you don't tell them all of it, or you remember another bit later, and that's just how it is. So there were conflicting, and that people were saying, oh, it wasn't true because he didn't say the same thing every time. Now we know now with research that actually if you say the same thing every single time, like absolute, then it's a lie. Whereas if you forget bits, or you got bits in, or and they all sort of meld together to create a story, then it's truth. So the fact that they are all different indicates truth, which is good for me because I like that. It's a very interesting study on that kind of thing if you want to get into it. We kind of did last year, and we studied the first vision ready for the study of the restoration thing, the conference in April. So we kind of did there, but going on too much here. So verse 8, because it's like history and everything, and then he wants to write this down. But verse 8, he says, during this time of great excitement, my mind was called up to serious reflection and great uneasiness. But though my feelings were deep and often poignant, still I kept myself aloof from all these parties, though I attended their several meetings as often as occasion would permit. In process of time my mind became somewhat partial to the Methodist sect, and I felt some desire to be united with them. But so great were the confusion and strife among the different denominations, that it was impossible for a person, young as I was, and so unacquainted with men and things, to come to any certain conclusion who was right and who was wrong. So this is before he found the scripture in James and went to pray. But you can see here that he is really thinking this out. He's not just going, oh yeah, that church has got more people, or my family already goes there, so I'm just going to go to that one. He was really pondering it and thinking it. And I've underlined here serious reflection and process of time. It doesn't actually say how long, but anything at 14 seems like millennia. So I would say a while. So question being, what's caused your mind serious reflection over a process of time? What's something that you've had to seriously reflect on over time? Now, when I was 14, I had some, 15, I had some serious pondering that came into my mind continually over a period of time. It was a decision I had to make that would affect my family's life and my life, my sanity, my future, so much. And if I was going to make the decision that I was going to make, it would take courage. So I feel what Joseph felt, not exactly the same way, but I still feel that I had a big decision to make, and it took courage to make it, knowing what the result was going to be, or not knowing what the result was going to be, like scary. But some things of life require this type of deep thought and planning, and Joseph wanted to get it right, and so did I, and I bet you do too. If you've got something like this that is really just like in your mind and you really don't know what to do, you're thinking it over seriously, because you want to get it right. You don't want to go about it the wrong way. So he was really excited when he found that verse in James about praying. And we're going to go on with that one for number 2, and about how anxious he was to pray. But the quote for this is, "We should give the things of God much more than usual superficial consideration. We must ponder them and reach into the very essence of what we are and what we may become." And that's Elder Joseph B. Wirthlin. So when it comes to big life choices, especially to do with things of God, and this was for me because it was family, that is a thing of God, and the potential consequences, you're really thinking out every potential little thing that could come up. And these are big questions. So it's not that you should spend all your time worrying on them, but it is something that does come to your mind, and it shouldn't cause you so much stress that you get a stomach ache. It was for me, unfortunately, but to take these things of God seriously, to really ponder them out, to think about them, not just take them superficially, as Elder Wirthlin says there. And Joseph wasn't doing that either. He really wanted to get this right. So, take those meditative moments. And we're going to talk a lot about this year. And I know it's become out really popular, and you're probably going to be like, oh, I'm sick of hearing about that. But it's actually really good for you to take that meditative moment in prayer and scripture study, and to really ponderize and just ponder and think. And just have those peaceful moments, because that's what will bring you that peace and will bring you that sure knowledge of what to do next. And we're going to cover some more of that in the next one. So that's number 1, and number 2 will be in it. Stay tuned, buddy.